Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow. In today's episode, we're going to get back into a new decade. Okay, so I already did the top 30 OAVAs, TV shows, and movies for the 1980s. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the 1990s. Okay, so I'll start from 1990 and work all the way up to 1999 and go through each and all these significant titles from every single year and then build a big top 30 countdown. So again, this is going to take me a while. It took me almost 14 episodes to do it for 1980, and this one probably will be a lot longer because there's now the the new generation. Like my generation, started in the 80s, and of course we had to suffer through a lot of things. Like no translations and very hard distribution, with the VHS tapes and all that stuff. But now, in the 1990s, the anime companies started kicking in. So now there's basically a source that a lot of people can get certain types of animes and that kind of stuff. Big boom in the new OAVAs and animes and movies that sort of came out. So a lot more titles we can deal with. So it's going to be a little bit harder than the 80s just because of the sheer volume. But again, we'll go through it all, and it'll make this list of the top 30 titles for you. I'd like to remind you to go down below and click like and click subscribe. And if you like, you can put a little comment about your experience with this, because that always helps the YouTube algorithm. And again, if you want to support me financially, I do have the super thanks button down below, as well as the links for the PayPal and Patreon. Again, we have special episodes and that kind of stuff for the subscribers and the donators to this channel. And again, there's a link below which has all the database, which are all the episodes of the history of fan anime, as well as the bonus episodes for the subscribers. So again, check that link out below. It really would help greatly. Thank you. Workings of the 1990s and what animes will end up on our top 30. All right. So without further delay, let's begin.
Okay, so the year is 1992, and we're doing the spring session of 1992. And right off the beginning, the brand new TV series that just started, Sailor Moon. Okay, so it's the first season of Sailor Moon. And this is a really important show because this is, where a lot of people will get into anime and that kind of stuff. The female population will enter anime. Now, the interesting thing is about this is that when we first got it, we fan subbed it right away. So we were the first guys to get this out onto the fan subs and that kind of stuff. It's so much so that we actually worked off of the TV broadcast tape. So a lot of our fan subs that we had don't even use the Laserdisc version because you have to wait until the Laserdisc comes out after the TV show comes out, and then you buy the Laserdiscs, then you fan sub it. No. We were taking the weekly episodes that came out of the video rental store. And we're using those copies as our master copy. So it had commercials in it. It was not, it was a little grainy, a little and that kind of stuff. But it was the first translation of that series, and it was immensely popular. Now, of course, Sailor Moon didn't come out onto TV until 1995. So we actually had like a 2.5, 3 year window of this product being available. And again, this is one of those things I always talk about. You want to pick fan subtitles that have a good, long shelf life. The expiry date isn't that long, and so, definitely. By the time they got that out and got regular Sailor Moon on TV, we were already got the Sailor Moon movie, we got our movie. I think S was already on TV at that time, and we already had the fan subs, so those going already. Of course, we didn't do all the episodes. We did select episodes for that one because we knew that it was going to get released eventually, right? So we didn't bother doing all the episodes. But then that's when we started getting into other magical girl shows. So again, as I do more episodes of this stuff, you'll see how we branched off and started going into this new sort of subgenre of that a lot of people are getting into, and that is a lot of these magical girl shows. And nothing really much on there except Korean Shin-chan, of course. It's kind of a really sort of happened, and there's even a little crossover episode inside Sailor Moon, but that's not what we'll get into because that didn't really do much over here A little bit in the Asian countries, but not so much over here. The other sort of title that just sort of comes out of in the background sort of thing is this Aston no Free Kick. Now, on the surface, another one of these, sports animes, like Soccer Boy, Captain Tsubasa, that kind of thing, or Touch, like as in baseball, it's just kind of, another one of these, for the most part, relatively insignificant sports animes. The only thing that will catch your eye, of course, is that Free Kick did get a little bit of promo in the Animedia magazine. So they did show, some posters and they did have some articles and that kind of stuff on it, okay? And so, even though it had a little bit of, sort of exposure, still a lot of people ignored it because of the fact that it's a sports anime, right? So you look into it a little bit more. The character designer is a Nobuyushi Habara. Okay, now this guy, of course, I spotted the artwork immediately, but this is the character designer who does Dan Cougar, Sweet Mint, and Machine Robo. So that includes the Liena OEV episodes and that kind of stuff. So again, if you look at the main character, you kind of go, oh, okay, yeah, that's like the female characters that you normally would see in let's say a Machine Robo type of thing. Though, Liena being the most key character that it very resembles, right? And so again, so if you like that kind of character design and that kind of stuff, this anime is is also drawn by the same guy, and might be for you. However, the topic is sports, and so that's a big sort of. But again, in terms of significance, that one is on the list there. Okay, and we're moving along to the next one here. The next most significant title is this Chow Dengu Robo Tetsujin 28 Go FX. Okay, so basically it's the old, shall we say, back in the days when it was black and white, the old Tetsujin 98, sort of now revamped up into this new version of whatever. So it's to basically redo another TV series where you got whatever 47 episodes of it, with a giant robot episode. So again, modification, variation of the boy and the giant robot. So giant Robo, giant Gorg, any of that kind of stuff. Even that entire Brave series, that's going on right now. We decided, hey, let's reboot Tetsuya 98 and let's make this new version of it, okay? Again, at the time, nobody gave a crap about this show. No one knows what it is, and no one bothered doing anything with it. Of course, you can always count on Discotech to, go out and grab garbage out of the pile, and they've managed to come back and release this cheap, I'm sure, on the cheap, and managed to put out a version of this for you guys. So again, thanks to the new technology and companies like this that will do that. Again, this is an old series that you can if you check it out. If you like those giant robot guy shows controlled by the kid thing. I guess you can throw Transformers in that as well. But that is the idea. And right now, at this particular juncture, that was also a really popular theme that was happening in this age. So we're just slowly, shifting over from the, epic war, giant robot kind of stuff. Okay, we had a big era of, the kid and the robot era thing. Okay, going on there, and now of course with Sailor Moon and all the magical girl shows, there's gonna be a slight shift in that sort of genre as well. Okay, so this is just more of that particular type of show. Okay, so we continue on with our list there. There's nothing new that's good there, so we go through all the TV shows that we've already going through. So again, at this time, we've got a lot of big, good blockbuster shows going on. We've got Dragon Ball, we've got Ranma and Half, Dragon Quest, Yawada, Tekken Blade 2. Those are all still running. The remnants of some other magical girl shows. Miki Momo still running. So lots of good sort of again, if you want to see what I said about those episodes, just see previous episodes where I talked about those ones, okay? But anyway, what we are on now is the new OVAs. Now, this is, again, one of the, big sections in the 90s where a lot of good stuff has been coming out, okay? And right off the bat, this is like a lineup that will blow most people's minds away. at this time, right? So here we have, more episodes of the OVAs for Gundam 0083, Stardust Memory. Phenomenal anime, great quality, nice short 13 episodes, series, but just great example of like a short Gundam story, really nice. So a lot of people were really excited about that. The very short series of Video Girl I was also a really big one. Again, they'll come up with DNA squared and all this other various kind of things, but this one was really nice because the fact that we ended up with a translated version of this that came out on paper or distributed in text. So a lot of people were able to access this show or want to access this show and still had idea what it was about because of all the written manga slash and dialogue translations of these things that were available in textual form. And so they were spread around the quote intranet, FidoNet type of things and the computer networks that we had at the time. So Video Girl I became a really big sort of, oh yeah, that anime, yeah, that we actually know stuff about, okay, and the fan subs and what up for, okay. Another new one that shows up on the list is Macross 2 Lovers Again. So again, with the huge popularity of Macross, Super Dimensional Fortress Macross that happened back in the 85 there, people just continued wanting more of this stuff, and they realized that wow, this is the everlasting effect of all the people who love the mechs and of course Mikimoto was really still very popular because they said he just finished releasing 080 and Gunbusters and that kind of stuff, and they realized that hey, let's make another Macross, different sort of theme kind of thing. And so when this one sort of came out, a lot of people's minds were blown. Just sort of like, oh my god, more Macross. That's exactly what we need. Wow. And it was really nice. The artwork is really good. Some people don't like where where the story kind of filled in because they kind of want more of the original timeline type of thing per se. But definitely it had the same sort of way that the same plot lines and that kind of stuff, and enough background got carried over, so it wasn't totally ridiculous or kind of strange. Like for example, when we get into the future, we'll get like things like Macross 7 and that kind of stuff. But this sort of thing was close enough and really had the close appeal, as well as of course making more artwork, that made a lot of people go and gravitate towards this Macross. And so again, even just the first line that you see here, this really sparked a lot of people, and really focused a lot of eyes as at the new OVAs that were coming out. Okay, and moving on, we also have another grid lineup of OVAs here. The next one is RG Veda. Okay, so this is another one of works of Clamp going on to the first their chance of doing an OVA. And this, of course, will lead to a lot of other stuff coming out that is all this the same sort of art style and focus. And it was really, really popular. So, being the first one, obviously, a lot of people knew about this sort of thing. But it was very popular, and we did the fan sub for this one, and it was really popular at a lot of our meetings and that kind of stuff, or video showcase showings and that kind of stuff. Because a lot of people like the action, the artwork, and that kind of stuff. But there obviously seems there needs to be more. And obviously, it was a segment of a larger manga series, which makes sense. But they never really did more anime for it. But people were really happy when later on when they get into, like, for example, X the movie and things like that. Tokyo Babylon's going to be another one that's going to show up coming from Clamp. So this is a start from a lot of their stuff that, again, if you like a lot of the materials coming from Clamp, including Miyuki-chan from Wonderland, definitely lots of good stuff coming from them. The next one on the list is the Gyver II series. So again, a short mini series, OVA series that they've released based off of the first Gyver series that that came out. Again, I really liked when the first one was out. Again, a lot of people had exposure to it from the comics and that kind of stuff, because that was one of the first original comics that came out from in the comic stores that were like translated over. But this one definitely helped out immensely when they released this one. So this is really good. Some more episodes that really got excitement from Gyver for that. The other thing I also mentioned that in the game that I'm playing, Langreaser Mobile, they just recently did a Langreaser crossover with Gyver, so that I could actually summon and use some of the characters from Gyver on the maps now. So again, if you're kind of interested in getting into that game, that's playing, basically lots of anime crossover references and that kind of stuff, and being able to use all those anime characters as playable characters. Yeah. They're not sponsored, but definitely that is something I'm playing with, and definitely if you want to have a look, do check that out. The next one on the list is Spirit of Wonder. Now, this was a nice anime that was kind of unexpected. Again, at the time when it first came out, no one cared about what it was. But then later on, when they made the release for this one, several years later, it was pretty well received. Nice, very nice story. The artwork on it is actually also quite nice on it. So, again, I think at this this conjuncture is that if the anime doesn't have like immediate snap pull, not that I'm talking about things like the Gundam and the big story kind of things, Macrosses and that kind of stuff. If they don't just suck you in right away, capture your interest in that kind of stuff, then it has a really high chance of being forgotten about or just pushed aside, just because there's so many other good stuff at this time. So I think Spirit of Wonder is one of those type titles where when it first came out, it suffered that sort of thing. It kind of got pushed aside and kind of forgotten over. But it got caught up in that big rush of let's try to license as much stuff as we could, and it got kind of a second life to it, which was really good. Like I said, I'm glad that someone did see that. Okay, we continue on the list here. We have Genesis Survivor Goliath. Now this is kind of interesting because as soon as I see the cover artwork for this one, I go, I know who that is. And you probably look at it the same, and especially if you look at the female character and probably the main character, you realize, hey, that's very familiar art style, and it is. It's the guy who does Zeta Gundam, and of course, a bunch of all the various things like his name is Gold and that kind of stuff as well. But so and then sort of another one of these sort of kind of reminds you of like Rhea Golf Force or something like that, right? But again, if you like that kind of his work has been moving on to a lot of these newer OVAs and that kind of stuff, from what he's done from Zeta Gundam. Of course he did all those things like Legacium and whatnot. But now here's another OVA series done by that guy, and it was also one of the relatively early releases from Central Park Media that just caught some eyes and that kind of stuff. And again, at the time it came out, no one really got into doing the fan subs and that kind of stuff, and it was kind of pushed aside and ignored. And you kind of look at all the other OVAs that are out there, Gyver and of course this is when the series of like the Gundams and that 083s, 080s, Macrosses all coming out. So we were too busy fan subbing all those kind of things and kind of ignoring all these titles. So obviously it was good that Central Park Media got in there and did the translation for this one. And it was a nice kind of thing. It feels that sort of post-apocalyptic type of kind of thing, and adds that extra little bit of things like swordplay and that kind of stuff, which is really nice. That fills in that gap, and this is sort of a new sort of kind of field that they put into. So again, really good. So again, good support for Hiroki Kazami. The next one on the list is KOB Sentry. This is another one of those type of things that I guess it came out at a time where all this sort of this kind of artwork and this kind of kind of cute sort of things that Energy Night and Laminate 40 was just finished. Okay, so now they got more of this kind of style of kind of a little bit of comedy. A little more of this, trying to be, hero saving type of thing, mixed with sort of animals and kind of stuff, because it says, they kind of look like, that's how they did the whole kind of thing of a KO beast, right? This got really heavily promoted in Animedia magazine, or sorry, Anime V magazine, right? Mainly because of the female characters. A lot of just like Energy Night, where they've really focused on Coca and Lemon. They sort of do the same thing here, right? People did sort of trade this, when it first sort of came out. No one really translated it at this time. It was, it stood untranslated for a while. Later on, there was sort of these, descriptive things that got published online for scripts and that kind of stuff, and then eventually, then the fan subs sort of came out, and then of course, the more releases of it came out. So, a nice short series, okay. And a lot of people kind of got into it just because of of how similar it was to like Lamone, and again, just the popularity of that kind of thing, kind of sort of an offshoot of it. So interesting kind of thing to like if you like that particular type of series. The next one, of course, is Joker. Now, Joker is one of those sort of animes that are sort of made off of a manga. I got the CD for it, which is the CD bases off of the manga. And so way earlier than actually before they actually released it as an anime. Again, this is one of those ones that sort of came out one shot sort of thing. Pretty much everyone ignored it or just didn't have access to it. And again, I think this also falls into the same category of there's so much better stuff out there. People sort of lost track of this and just sort of like, yeah, we're just gonna ignore it, and we're just there's so much better stuff out there that it got basically ignored. Again, no one really traded it, and no one fan subbed it, right? But again, later when people are looking for obscure animes, to go into, that's one of the ones that people will check out just because of the obscurity factor. Okay, so we continue on down the list here. The next major channel is this one called Genji. Now, again, Genji is a historical Japanese character, leader type of thing, right? And there's an earlier anime version of Genji, but no, I want to focus on this one specifically because this one has some big names on it. First of all, the manga for this one is done by Yun Koga. This person, of course, is known for things like Earthian, of course, Genji, as well as Gestalt. Okay, but this, so that's where the manga comes from. But this anime, the character design is done by Kiyomiya, or if you like his alternate name, Michitaka Kikuchi. Okay, but so it's a very, if you even look at the cover of it, it has a very Silent Mobius-like look to it, right? And again, it's short, 2-part OVA type of thing. Really nicely well drawn, quick. I mean, it's a quick sort of, variation of the Genji story. It's almost like Yotoden kind of thing, right? It kind of mixes a little bit of modern day kind of stuff with with the traditional Japanese sort of thing, right? So it's a really interesting kind of story. We always like presenting this at our meetings and that kind of stuff because it was rather kind of strange, and I'll just leave it at that, and I'll let you guys check it out. But again, if you like for a short OEA series, and again, good character design on that, because that guy does your Silent Mobius, Steam Detectives, all that kind of stuff. Definitely something to check out for that one, and being nice and short, it's really easy to digest. Okay, so we just continue on. There's no other more segment OVAs. We go straight to the movies. Now, there's not very many segment movies either. And we have this one called Madori, which was, pretty awful actually, in terms of character design, and it's just a really pretty pointless story. Freak show type of stuff. So um, you know, pretty ignorable. The other one, the two on the list here, which are kind of significant in different ways. The one is Run Melios. Now, this is based off of a historical novel type of thing, right? So much so that it's actually used as sort of one of these reading texts that's common in elementary schools and that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of actually cultural references in not just this, but also in anime, which refers to the Run Melios. One of the probably most sort of on the top of the list and sort of well known that you guys would probably know about is that the opening theme song for SPT Lazinar refers to Run Melios, far away, right? The lonely way type of thing, right? There's a reference in the song to that concept, okay? Because it's a historical adaptation with a lot of moral things and that kind of stuff to it, right? And again, a lot of people who in the education system would have read over this sort of thing when they're going through the text. I mean, I guess it's much the same way how when I grew up, a lot of the novels and that kind of stuff we had to read 1984, Lord of the Flies, To Kill a Mockingbird. These sort of works of novels and that kind of stuff we had to go through when we were going through English class and that kind of stuff. So this is the same sort of way that this sort of novel is. Again, no one ever really fan subbed it or did any releases to this sort of thing, and no one really traded it just because again it's not a significant title. The only one that I'm gonna make another mention is to hear the Candy Candy movie. Yeah, and this story has been going on, from the TV series. Now they finally put it together into a movie over here. Again, no sort of fan subs not because were really made for this, and wasn't really well distributed, at least in the Western Hemisphere over, shall we say, or North America type of thing. Um, I do believe it was received very well in like France and Germany and England and that kind of stuff. It went over really well over there, so maybe possibly they might have a language release and that kind of stuff over there. But for the most part in North America here, again, very very like people knew what the title was, but very very little distribution and translation ever happened with that. Okay, and on the bottom of the list here is I guess a TV special thing. It's called the Amazing Akaku Prelude. Okay, now they've released a bunch of these little short, sort of onesie sort of things for Amazing Akaku. They made the essentially the Gilligan's Island thing. They made all these like the spring sort of the kind of show say spring baby episode, if you will. They also had the Akane episode kind of tossed in there. All these sort of onesies. So now they decide, okay, hey, you want to put a prequel episode to sort of explain the whole Soichiro thing, the dog, and all that kind of stuff. So again, not a lot of new anime per se. The word anime, just just using some of the footage that they probably kind of glanced over. A lot of reusing the same scenes, kind of the same things, but just repurposing them again with new dialogue and that kind of stuff to help kind of build the story before the story, kind of thing, right? So that it'll help fill in fill in all those gaps that you kind of, got from the manga, but wasn't in the show, kind of thing. Because I mean, I when we're doing the fan sub for Amazing Akaku, we had to do that for the winter skiing episode, right? Where Godai and Kyoko were together alone, during the quote ski season, and of course the funny thing happened. Again, in the manga, you saw it happen and whatnot, but in the anime, you didn't, right? So what we had to do is when we were doing that episode, we had to stop the video at that particular point, took all those scans from the manga, and we fan subbed the panels of the manga in the video, and then basically once we got the intimate scene out of the way. And then we had to restart the video, to continue on with the episode, quote, after the incident, sort of thing, right? Again, so this is the same kind of idea where there is a lot of information that we didn't know about, Soichiro and the dog and all that kind of stuff, and now they've now made this sort of clip anime kind of thing to sort of explain it. And I guess it really isn't any different than those shows that they've got things, for example, like the best clips for Dan Cougar, Vifam, Elgheim OVAs, the Orgus, Memorial, and things like this, where they're just taking stuff from the show, the series and whatnot. They either make a music video of it, they make, sort of a collage of best scenes and that kind of stuff, like, for example, the Macross flashback, for example, things like that. This is sort of the same thing, but now, of course, they've angled it and they've kind of positioned it more as a prequel episode. Again, I think it was broadcasted briefly on TV, and then they might have put it onto like a videotape rental type of thing, and on that. But again, most people, since by this time, have already seen the episodes on TV, and of course the laserdiscs and that kind of stuff all encompasses the TV series. So again, that's what we've did all the fan subbing and that kind of stuff for, and things like this just sort of fell to the wayside because it wasn't available. We couldn't get the rental tapes, whatever. We never bothered doing the fan subs and that kind of stuff in it. I don't think really anybody does until quite late in time. Anyway, so that basically finishes 1992. This is season 2, so that's your spring session, and it's a little bit longer than normal. But again, because it's not enough to split 2 episodes on this one, and there wasn't much going on in terms of movies for 1992 spring. So, this is a good way to finish off. So there's some good titles that you should definitely check out. Definitely check out things like Genji, and obviously, the big blockbusters, of course, are going to be Gundam 008-3, and, Gyver II, of course. And, of course, the big one, I think, for most people at this time, will be, of course, Macross 2. Anyway, so, again, don't forget to go down below, click like, and click subscribe, because I said we got all of the 1990s to continue doing. So again, we'll go through it slowly and surely, season by season, and we will pick the best titles and tell you, make sure that you don't miss anything when going through the 90s. All right?
All right. Hope you found that really interesting. And again, we'll help you getting into more episodes as we go through the whole entire decade of the 1990s. All right? So, until next time, I will see you again.